Hello, everyone. I'm AT Storm Track meteorologist Austin Haskins. Overall, the weather this past weekend was pretty decent for this time of the year, though Sunday was a bit cooler and a bit breezier compared to Saturday and even on Friday when some spots got into the low 70s. But we are tracking showers in the forecast for today and tomorrow, along with gusty winds today through Wednesday, and then much cooler conditions Tuesday and Wednesday. Our Monday, temperature-wise, actually looking to be pretty mild, but we are going to be dealing with the wind, of course. We'll talk about that here in a second. This is all tied to an area of low pressure out in the Dakotas this morning. Now, there is another one up to the north behind the banner you see there up in Canada, but that's going to be combining with this low and actually strengthening over the next day or so, and will be slowing down as it moves farther east and northeast. So as a result, we're still going to have impacts with this even into Wednesday in that wind department. So, speaking of that, let's take a look at the wind forecast. So the winds are starting off mostly light this morning, but it will be turning more south to southwest today ahead of a cold front. Sustained winds of 15 to 25 miles per hour could gust up to 30 to 40 miles per hour. Tomorrow, cold front moves through. The wind shifts to the west and northwest. Sustained 15 to 25 could gust up to 40 miles per hour. And then still breezy on Wednesday with a northwest wind at 10 to 20 could gust 20 to 30 miles per hour. So now let's talk about the rain. So we're starting off pretty dry this morning, and I expect things to stay dry through about midday to early afternoon. As we get towards about 1 p.m. or so, we'll start to see the cold front approach our western hometowns and that chance for some showers as well. By about 4 to 4:30 this afternoon, the rain should be roughly along the Highway 53 corridor, but then it exits the area by about 8 o'clock or so tonight. So this is going to be in and out pretty quickly, and we're not expecting a lot of rain with this, but it could slow things down just a little bit for that evening commute. And then we'll quiet things down a little bit for most of the evening, or the latter half of the evening, I should say, into part of the overnight. But then, as we get on the backside of the system, we're going to see clouds return, a few showers around to start our Tuesday. But the better coverage of rain is going to move in as we get towards mid to late morning into the afternoon. Get those cold air evection showers. And believe it or not, and you're going to notice this up to the north and east, yeah, future tracks wanting to show maybe a little bit of snow mixing in with the rain. Temperatures are going to be warm enough where we're not going to obviously see any accumulation. And, of course, the grounds are still very warm. But if you're in Clark or the northern parts of Clark County into Taylor, Ruskin, and maybe parts of Barron County, you could see a flurry or two tomorrow. But other than that, I don't really think we're going to see anything out of that. Certainly not anything, significant or accumulating wise. But, considering that we were in the 60s and low 70s here on Friday, and we're talking about maybe seeing a few flurries, might be a little bit of a shock to some people. But it is also getting towards the end of October, and this is kind of typically when we start to see at least a few flurries from time to time, or typically our first. But nonetheless, we'll at least monitor the trends on that on future track as we go into later today and tonight. And then maybe a shower or two early in the day Wednesday, but most of Wednesday's dry. We'll start to gradually clear things out into Wednesday afternoon. And our rain chances, the second half of the week is basically at 0, and then just a very small chance Saturday and Sunday. But as we get into Sunday night and early next week, there are at least some early signals of our next system to bring some rain to the area, but we'll watch trends on that as we get a little bit later into the week. Now, over the next 48 hours through Wednesday morning, we're not expecting much rain. This is for Eau Claire, so your number is going to vary a little bit, but most locations will pick up to about a 1/4 inch of rain. On the high end, maybe up to about 3/10 of an inch or 1/3 of an inch. But most spots up to about a 1/4 of an inch or so on the high end. Highs today, again, not too bad. Upper 50s, low to mid 60s. That's about 5 to 10 degrees above average. Tonight, we're back down into the upper 30s and lower 40s. But we don't warm hardly at all tomorrow, only in the mid 40s for highs. And there's a chance we could see our high temperature actually at midnight tonight. And with those strong winds around, it's going to feel more at the mid to upper 30s tomorrow. So definitely want to dress on the warm side tomorrow. And then for Wednesday, not much better, but a little bit. We'll go about 45 to 50 across the area. Then we'll see those winds kind of relax for the second half of the week, and we see more sunshine. Now, we could be dealing with, again, the frost and freeze conditions, but of course, those alerts will not be issued anymore because the growing season is technically over. But 53 on Thursday, up to 58 Friday, and then we'll be around 60 for the weekend.